that point here. Let's have a chat about that because out of these four teams, you mentioned four names. Okay, you mentioned Ant, you mentioned Luka, Tatum, and obviously Tyrese Haliburton. Who do you think out of these four and these four teams ultimately have the most to gain with a championship, and ultimately who has the most to lose? Okay, if you want me, I'll start the ball rolling here with the one to lose. Okay, to me,
Okay.
it's clear. It's Tatum. Right now, this is a Boston team that won 60 games, now playing the sixth seed, I think, in the East. They've been there six times or seven times now in the last 6, 7 years. And if Tatum cannot grab this series by the scruff of the neck, which I'm saying he can't, okay, that was not my pick, okay, this will be Tatum's going to end up in the same conversation pool as hell. I'm going to pick sides. I don't know. Hell, I don't know. Give me some names. Carmelo. He's
Well,
going to be
I'm going to
like
go in
Devin
with
Booker. I don't know. Who
Vince
else?
Carter,
Vince Carter.
Vince
Sure.
Carter, Westbrook,
Tracy
Harden.
McGrady. I don't know. Like some of those all-time names, great players, and Tatum is a great player in this era. Okay, but he just doesn't have the goods. He has yet to show them, and if this year he doesn't show them, I think he's the one that has the most to lose if they cannot capture a championship now with these final four remaining teams.
Yeah, like I think instead of reiterating what you just said, I'll even rank them for you. It's clearly Tatum, leaps and bounds one, and then a big drop off down to Luka being number two, because obviously Luka does have that weird LeBron comparison goat, and he needs to get
Well,
started
everyone
now.
else gets a free get out of jail free card somewhat, yeah, because Luca
Correct.
would say their team's a fifth seed and that he's banged up and like they're just that's not there yet.
It's not there. You've got, I would say Minnesota would be next. I would say Ant Edwards would be next. And then Tyrese gets the easiest path, not only because this is his first breakout season, but also Siakam comes in mid-season and he has the hamstring injury as well. So, everyone has their own narrative here. When you talk about most to gain, though, I think that's where, obviously, if it's the most pressure on Tatum, I actually think it has the least amount to gain, right? Because what the narrative will be, very similar to how we treated LeBron in Miami when he won his first. It's,
Mm,
oh, he finally gets one,
mm.
and it's almost no cause for celebration because it just, we felt the same with Jokic, right? Oh, three MVPs and he hasn't got an NBA championship. Yeah, what are we doing? So it will be the same for Tatum. If he wins it, it's going to be a low stakes win, not to downplay it, just being like the general media reception will be, it's about time, mate. You've been there 7 times, 8 times, whatever it was. But Ant gets the Michael Jordan moniker really quick. How quick can they turn onto that? Luka gets his little goat thing, and even Tyrese. Tyrese is the biggest dark horse of this all because the way he played today, if he could maintain that for the remainder of the playoffs, then Indiana is interesting, right? Because they're not great defensively, but the fact that they can put 100 plus points on any team consistently in the playoffs, well, we talk about defense, but no team's ever really won off the run and gun style. But it has to happen eventually. Someone has to eventually walk into the NBA Finals that just outscores you, and you can hit them with 110 points, but they hit you with 130, and you can't match it.
Look, I think it's sometimes a double-edged sword, right? Like let's for example say, um, let's say Luca does get to the finals, the Mavs win through here, okay, and you're not picking them obviously, but I'm saying they're going to scrape through here, and the Mavs get to the finals. So Luca then gets to the first finals, and he wins. Okay, and like I said, and I'll agree with you. He's probably got the most to gain out of this lot here to begin his journey to being ranked in the top 10 all time. Yeah, and potentially maybe in top 5 all time by the time it's said and done. However, there's so many metrics here. I talked about boxes and check boxes before. And there's metrics here that require things like, A, championships, of course, yeah. How many championships you want. Yeah, that's important, yeah. But also how you win them. Okay, right now, I don't think, and the Mavs finished fifth, and they've sort of, they've got to this point where they're not necessarily been favorites in a sense. You could argue this Mavs team is not going to win two in a row. They're not a dynasty. They ain't going to win three in a row. I don't know. And maybe internally they got other thoughts, of course, themselves. Yeah. Kyrie's only going to get older. Yeah, he's on the wrong side of a superstar here. That's a sidekick in regards to his prime years. Yeah, that's the reality. And I think are they going to, if let's say if the Mavs did win here, are they going to more have a potential run at a dynasty and Luka's being in that conversation top 10 because they're more like the Spurs where they won one, lost one, won one, lost one. They picked up a few over the course of the seasons, making different sort of runs in that sort of sense. Because they don't seem like they're built that way. And at the same time, getting there and then losing one. Now you've lost one. Yeah, I think that's a part here where it's such of course you want to get the finals. You want to be in that position to have a chance to win. But then if you lose one now, especially someone at his stature that's potentially touted to be in that conversation top 5, top 10 all time, losing one, and this is the whole LeBron narrative. You're probably going to spin something different here. All right, I think it is something that does not help your argument.